If you were to find yourself in the misfortunate circumstances of being in the middle of a crisis situation, do you really know how you would react?
In this video, we will examine a very scary yet very real fact about how people respond, or more importantly, how they sometimes fail to respond when placed in a real life crisis situation. The facts are somewhat concerning, and we're starting right now.
Welcome to Prep Busters. I'm Bob Parker.
And I'm John Waugh. If you're joining us for the first time, our passion is helping people navigate the vast array of topics relating to emergency disaster preparedness, and to help you, our friends and viewers, sort through the mountains of misinformation that is out there and become more properly prepared, along with your family and loved ones, for any likely disaster situation.
We are both very experienced in many facets of disaster preparedness and have been providing live training to folks from all walks of life for several years.
Another important thing to keep in mind, if you are joining us for the first time, we approach training with a strong belief that everyone, regardless of your experience level, has something positive to contribute to the conversation. So whether you are highly experienced in something that we're talking about or are hearing about it for the very first time, please be very active in the discussion. We utilize the comment section below as a way for you to ask us questions or to provide answers to our questions to you. Your comments are also very important to us, and we do our best to respond to each and every comment that is left on the channel. Okay, so let's get started. Anyone who's a fan of old-time movies should remember this classic action movie scene. And before we play the video, pay special attention because we're going to test your observation skills at the end of this session.
Swell. Okay, it's a hold up! Everybody down! On the floor! Move! I said down! What's the matter? Don't you speak the language, asshole?
Don't you curse me, boy.
Curse you, Pops. I'm gonna blow your head off.
Stop waving that gun in my face.
Who's gonna make me, Grandpa?
Fire!
Let him go! I said let him go! I'll kill you, man! I was only kidding, Grandpa. Let me go!
Grandpa, huh? What are you gonna do with him, Harry? I want to blow his head off.
You want to do that?
He was disrespectful to me.
But you just had your suit clean. You get brains all over it.
This punk don't have any brains.
Yeah, but there'll be blood. All red and sticky. Yeah. It'll be messy.
Get him up.
Okay. This guy's in the wrong business.
They don't make crooks like they used to.
Jeez, it's amazing. I just can't believe the way you handle these guys.
Just doing what comes naturally.
You're incredible.
Now, how about cashing that check, son?
What a lot of people don't know is that the creators of that movie used facts obtained from an actual bank robbery that occurred in the early 60s, where two pistol-wielding gunmen walked into a bank, shot a security guard, and proceeded to order everyone onto the ground as they started to rob the bank. In the real bank robbery, as investigators analyzed the bank security camera footage, they were actually shocked to see that as the gunmen were ordering everyone to the ground, all but 3 of the bank customers immediately dropped to the floor. Of the remaining 3 customers, 2 stood frozen, not moving an inch. The third customer was seen dropping to one knee as his right hand went to the back of his waistband under a short jacket. As each frame of the security cameras clicked off, the photograph showed this customer draw a revolver from a hidden holster and engage both gunmen, killing one and fatally wounding the second. During this time, there were several shots fired between the bank robbers and the armed customer, though luckily for the customers and employees, nobody other than the security guard and the 2 gunmen were hit that day. And the security guard did not receive life-threatening injuries and did recover from his injuries. The most amazing aspect of this gunfight, which unfortunately never made it to the silver screen version, was the fact that the other 2 customers who had ignored the bank robbers' initial orders to get on the floor had remained standing in their original positions throughout this short but deadly shootout. Even more amazing than that is the fact that when the crime scene was documented, investigators learned that several bullets from all three guns had came dangerously close to striking the two customers who remained standing motionless. So what would cause such a different reaction from the different customers in that bank? How would one customer with a gun easily defeat two armed criminals without sustaining even a single scratch? Type in your initial thoughts below. So let's go back and break it down for you. The answer to why so many different people would react so differently is actually quite simple. The answer lies in the individuals involved, their age, their vocation, and more importantly, their training and exposure to highly stressful situations. In the bank, the customer with a gun, who has so heroically stopped the bank robbery, was actually an off-duty highway patrolman who also served as a firearms instructor and who was also a decorated military veteran who had served during some very intense fighting in Vietnam. The two bank robbers each had a lengthy criminal conviction record, though up until that point, neither had been involved in such a violent event, nor had they ever used a weapon during the commission of a single crime. And neither had any formal firearms training whatsoever. Now, the two customers who had stood motionless as bullets went racing by within inches of their bodies were from opposite demographic groups. One was a 19-year-old college student, while the other was a 72-year-old retired jeweler. The one thing that both did share was the fact that neither had ever been exposed to any violent event in their entire life. The college student, the son of missionary parents, had spent nearly his entire life living in remote locations throughout South America and had never even watched a single TV show or seen a violent movie. The retiree, an admitted recluse, had never owned a television set and had never been exposed to any violence at any level during his entire life. In the late 70s, after a couple of similar events occurred involving new law enforcement officers getting in a situation where they didn't react, many law enforcement agencies throughout the country incorporated specialized training into their curriculums to provide recruits with training methods that induce stress in a measured fashion to provide those officers with the needed tools to hopefully cope if they found themselves in such a real-life situation. With all this in mind, please remember the following saying in a violent, stressful situation. The odds are that you will do exactly what you have been trained to do, which could include nothing if you've never been trained. So the biggest takeaway from this is to not just train, but to train at various skills to the point that muscle memory is established. This might not mean that you need to train to be a major marksman, though that obviously sure wouldn't hurt. The point that we're trying to make is that every person will have a unique strength and unique weakness and or voids, and the goal is to have you identify those voids and to fill them with meaningful training and practice to a point that your reaction becomes second nature. And let me actually share a perfect example of what we're talking about here. Quite a few years ago, while working for a sheriff's office, I became a pursuit driving instructor, and I acquired and honed the necessary skills to easily perform many precision driving skills at a nearly subconscious level. Just a couple months ago, while driving home, a truck pulling an excavator ran a stop sign and stopped blocking most of the travel lane in front of me, with not enough distance to even think about stopping. In that situation, I performed what I would proudly argue to be a 65 mile an hour high-speed lane change perfectly. Even though it had been several years since I had practiced or taught that very procedure, the skill was obviously still embedded in my subconscious.
This is why we say that you can never train too much. And for the question of the day, what sort of crisis situations have you been in? How did you react? And how did others around you react? Please post your answer in the comments section below.
It'll be interesting to read some of the comments on that one. In addition to that, whether or not you have been in a crisis situation, what sort of training do you think would be beneficial for you to go through to be better prepared? Please also post those answers and those questions in the comment section below. And we promise to respond to each and every comment. And that, believe me, is a very big promise, but we'll live up to it.
We do it because that's what we do.
Now, for the trivia question that we promised What kind of gun did Burt Lancaster take away from the bank robber? And how did Burt Lancaster's character knock out the bank robber? Again, put your answer to that question in the comment section below.
And as John said, this is only one small part of the conversation. We have several classes planned for release over the next couple of months, which build upon this class and provide you with a few different options on making sure that you are prepared for whatever life may throw at you.
If you are new to the channel and enjoyed the show, please feel free to hit that subscribe button below and hit the little bell icon so that you can be notified when we do publish new content. We'd love to have you join our channel here and be part of the conversation.
If you know some folks who you think might benefit from watching the show, please hit that share button. And please keep in mind that we create content that our members tell us is important to them. So hit that like button if you got something out of the video. Leave a comment if there is anything you didn't like, or if you have suggestions on how we could make things better.
So also please be sure to check out these 2 videos for more thought-provoking content. And if you are subscribed, watch your email for a notice regarding live discussions about this and similar topics. And we will see you next time on Prep Busters.